And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Lost Podcast of Titan, a father and son journey through the sci-fi series where the father assigns a random old sci-fi-ish, maybe sci-fi-ish movie to his son as in days long ago, and he has to watch it and wonder, why did you do this to me? What have I done to you?
Because I love you.
I don't think you do.
I think I do. I'm trying to expand your horizons.
With this? Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, okay, I guess I get the drift of where your comments are heading.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who were not aware, the last assignment I had was to watch Horror Express with Christopher Lee. And let me just pull this up here. Should have done this before we actually started the podcast. But anyway, yeah, for 1972. So this is before I was born, but that's part of the assignment. And it was okay-ish, but I have issues. So let me just break.
You wouldn't be you if you didn't have issues.
So let me just break this down for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's John Carpenter's The Thing, set on a train in Siberia. With an energy being. It was so fuck. I got really pissed off when he said, "I am a being of energy." I wanted to throw something at my screen. So let me start this here. So the movie opens, and we have Christopher Lee bringing on board this train this large crate that he has chained up, and inside the crate is a fossilized missing link, I guess. Whatever. I'm not quite sure why there's a viewing porthole. Like, why is there? Okay, so the box has this window you can look into. I don't understand why. It's not like the thing inside can. I mean, really, the thing inside could look out, but we're under the impression it's a fossil at the time. It makes no sense. And it starts in Shanghai, or
yes.
Okay,
this is the Trans-Siberian Express that they're on.
Yes, this is the Trans-Siberian Express, and one thing I like about this movie is that everyone is the most extreme version of themselves. Every Chinese person is very Chinese. Every Russian person is very Russian, and every British person is very British. And we have Christopher Lee being very Christopher Lee. It's very awesome. And we even have Rasputin come in just like it's Rasputin, like very obviously Rasputin.
Well, Father Pujardov, but yeah, he's obviously a starets. And one comment I wanted to make is there ever going to be a movie which features a Russian priest on board? And will this priest not be a Rasputin knockoff?
Probably not, no. But all the fucking coincidences in this movie just drives me insane. Like, there just happens to be an engineer on the train. There happens to be a world-renowned physicist or whatever who has a freshly created piece of miracle steel. Oh my god!
Well, it's a full-service train.
It's a full fucking service train, I guess. Yes. But, ladies and gentlemen, this creature in the box, will absorb someone's their knowledge through the eyes. So if you look into the eyes in the dark, your knowledge is sucked out, and I could kind of get that. Okay, cool, all right, that's fine. I will go with that.
Your whole brain gets wiped.
Yes, which is actually kind of cool. Because they'll actually do autopsies on the first few victims, and they're like, what happened to this guy's brain? But so the first victim is a Chinese thief who is attempting to break into the the crate for whatever reason. I didn't really care, but somehow looking into that guy's eyes is allowed him to absorb the knowledge, but not any of the porters, not the scientists from before. Like, they found this guy, and it's only when he's in a crate about to be put on a train that he decides to do the whole, you know, gaze into the powers of my evil eye. But unfortunately, since this is a thief, one of the best pickpockets in all of China, we now have the scene later on where the creature it sticks a hairy ape arm out of the box because it has a porthole. Because why does it have a porthole? I don't know. And it makes its own lockpick and starts picking the lock. And in that course, it kills the baggage master, I guess.
Generally moving up the chain.
Yeah. So now he has a good layout of the train because now he has the knowledge of the baggage master. And this is actually kind of when it started getting a little creepy because what was it? There's the countess who's doing music, and the baggage master heard the song and was whistling it, and now we have the creature whistling the same music, which shouldn't be kind of creepy, but for some reason to me is kind of creepy.
Well, that was, to me, was one of the positive aspects. The music by John Kakavas and that theme song
Yeah,
really worked.
it did. I was going to bring it up, the musician of John Kakavas. I kind of want the soundtrack. Like, it's, who's the Western dude? Mancini? Macaroni? Spaghetti Westerns?
The spaghetti. Oh, God.
Mancini, right?
No, not Henry Mancini does the Pink Panther theme.
Yeah, that's
Hold
the same
on.
guy, right?
No. Just a moment.
No, that didn't work out. It's Pasta Mancini is definitely not the guy.
Mancini? Oh, Ennio Morricone.
Oh. Huh, really? That doesn't sound like the right
Yes.
guy.
It's the right guy.
Oh, okay.
He practically invented the spaghetti western soundtrack genre.
But it was really good because it got that, like, bow, wow, 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 like the good electric guitar shit coming in on a really bad horror movie. But one thing I don't understand is, like, when people are killed by this creature, their eyes are white because they're boiled?
Yes, the creature's power generated a lot of heat in the victim.
Yeah, but that would pop the eye. Like, you
Well,
boil an eye, it
it was-
pops.
Well, I wouldn't know, but I haven't gone around, gazing with the eye of doom into people's faces. But apparently it's enough to boil the eye, but not enough to
Pop it.
pop them. Yeah.
That's lovely. It does take a few seconds, it seems, for this creature to pull off the evil eye trick, which
Yeah.
kind of makes me wonder how the Chinese person, was held in place to stare at the obviously evil eye. I don't know.
Well,
Also, there is this scene. I'm sorry. There's this scene before the box gets on the train with Rasputin, where he
Yeah.
senses the evil on the box because there's a corpse next to the box. Whatever.
he senses evil in everything. The
Yeah.
guy was, the guy had his curlers on too tight from the get-go, if you want my opinion.
But he's like, oh my, there's evil, and God exists everywhere, even on this stone. And he takes a bit of chalk and he draws the cross on the stone floor beneath him. But then, shakingly, he brings the chalk to the box and attempts to draw the cross, and it doesn't show up. And everyone is aghast and doesn't understand. Like, oh, how is this possible? How is this possible? Like, the motherfucker just didn't press down.
Yeah, he's the pre-communist pre-revolution version of a televangelist.
Yeah, like this. And the thing is that this is referenced later by an engineer. And he's like, how is this possible? How did the chalk not make anything? I'm like, motherfucker. He didn't press down on the chalk. This is not difficult.
Things would have been easier if you'd been there to slap the guy around and.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. Okay. Now, the origin of this creature pissed me the hell off because they needed to establish that that it's an alien. I'm like, okay, fine. They do it in the most stupid way. They take drops. So they find the creature and they shoot it and they think they killed it. But they're taking drops out of drops of blood out of the eye, and they're looking at it under a microscope because, this is the 1800s on a Trans-Siberian Express, or wait, no, it's early 20th century, I guess.
1906 was when the story took place.
There we go. Okay, so it's before World War One. Okay, so they're just doing random shit because they're British, and. There's also one of the best lines in the movie later on. I'll get to it. But they're looking at their blood under the microscope, and they come into focus, and the last thing, an image forms in the blood of the last thing the creature saw, which was the inspector shooting him. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my movie.
You've never heard this theory before? This was actually a prevalent. It's appeared in 2 other films.
A prevalent theory in 1906.
But you saw the Wild Wild West with Will Smith, didn't you?
Wicked Wild Wild, yeah.
They did the same thing, with the scientist's head shining a light through his eyes, to cast images. And there was also a Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi film, The Invisible Ray, where Bela Lugosi does the same thing with a murder victim.
Okay.
So it's just sort of a thing back then, and and like in the other 2 films, they decide to play it as real.
Right, but Wicked Wild Wild is a comedy.
The Invisible Ray wasn't.
Right, but when was The Invisible Ray made?
In the 1930s.
Very good. This was made in 1972, and they should have known fucking better. Oh, Lord. But, so the vision of the inspector shooting the creature appears in the blood. Oh, my gosh. And then it starts going backwards in time to the dinosaurs, and then the Earth from space, and I'm like, oh, just
shoot you now.
All in the blood. It's gonna set the train on fire. It's gonna be a giant Roman candle going down the tracks. But they think everything's fine because they killed the creature. However, this is a creature of energy, though we don't know this yet. And it jumped into the body of the inspector. And I don't understand, I may have missed it, but for whatever reason, the inspector now has the creature's arm.
The creature has, instead of stealing information from its victim, it transferred completely to the inspector.
Well, why did it bring the arm?
I don't know why, but they wanted to, for the slower people in the theater, they see the arm and they say, "Oh, that's where the creature is now."
Yes, but later on in the movie, that's not the case.
Well, then you notice how the inspector was always hiding the affected arm.
Well, yes, what I'm saying is that, spoiler alert, the creature jumps into the body of Rasputin, and the Rasputin doesn't have the arm.
I may have to go back and rewatch the film. I mean, are we certain that we weren't concentrating on Rasputin's arm? And God, and,
okay, that might be the case.
and didn't notice that he had a bad arm with him because he's wearing those, fakaka robes and.
That's also a possibility. I'll give it that because things do get kind of crazy at the end. Things jump off the rails, literally. But anyway, so okay, so that now the creature is in the head inspector. So now he has full access to the entire train and a face of authority. So things are going really bad. But this is actually when it gets a lot better for me. Is that the creature actually starts to converse with other passengers and the other main characters in the movie, basically. Like he's interested in the steel that the one scientist is making, and he talks to the two British people, and he's trying to get them alone and in a dark place so he could do the with the evil eye.
So, because apparently that power only works in darkness.
Yes, I think it's because that just smells of a decision of, oh holy shit, this looks horrible. What if we turn off the lights? Okay, if we turn off the lights, it looks like a dollar store toy. Okay, that's much better. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. Because the eye prosthetic and eye makeups do not look comfortable at all. At all. I actually got kind of squeamish looking at it sometimes because of it just. I can't imagine that stuff actually in my eye. It's just. Ugh.
But it also made for a more atmospheric approach.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
This was a very obviously, I'm sure you noticed, this was a very low budget production, and I am always impressed by low budget films that really do the job, and this for me did the job.
Yeah, but the writing just goes off the rails later on. It's like they had no outline to begin with, and as a result, they get to a point and they're like, "Oh, what do we do now? Oh, well, let's do this," and we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, I'm also impressed by that someone obviously felt they could keep expenses down by having most of the action take place on a train.
Well, I mean, they had to keep everything contained. But anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now we have some fresh dead bodies after the creature has been killed. So now the passengers on the train are getting really scared because apparently a few murders on the Siberian Express, well, that's just the risk you take when you get on the Siberian Express. But if there's a pattern and more than two or three happen, then it's time to get off the train. And I love this part. It's in the middle of an ice storm. Like every time a door opens, every time a window opens, it's the classic whoosh, and it's all ice and snow. And they're like, "Stop the train. We want to get off." Motherfucker, where are you going?
And then they open the door to let the people out, and the people say, "On second thought, we'll figure something out in here."
We'll just all hang out in one compartment and sleep in shifts. That should work. Oh, I just didn't know that. And okay, but the creature is still wandering the train, trying to get the people he wants to get alone so he can do the brain suck. And Rasputin sees this. So what does Rasputin do? He sees the creature kill one of the scientist's assistants, and in the course of 30 seconds, drops all of his faith and decides to worship Satan. He's decided this creature is Satan, and, well, I mean, if you see Satan, you have to worship Satan. This is just how it works.
Yeah, well, it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Oh, but I was just amazed that he was like, "I will serve you, Satan," and the creature,
his feet or
the creature just looks at him and goes, "There is nothing in your head worthwhile," and wanders off. And I'm like, "Oh fuck, burn, burn!" Like, I mean, not even worth enough to keep quiet. Like, who would believe you? Oh. So now we have Rasputin for the rest of the movie, basically 2 or 3 steps behind the creature, trying desperately to become its servant. It's like Renfield. It's amazing. And now, okay, so the creature is alive, and the people, the scientists have basically deduced that it's able to move from person to person. It's like an infection. Okay, so how are they going to determine who has it? They just randomly decide, well, we'll see it in the whites of their eyes, and they start just inspecting everybody. It's pulling shit out of their ass. I didn't really like it, but it does. It does. Go ahead.
Well, they are obviously desperate. So at that point, they would consider any possibility for survival.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. I like your summation of the
events. But so the whole investigation does bring about the best line in the entire fucking movie. Because in the end, it's just like the two scientists. Well, I mean, who else could it be? Could be us. And one of the guys goes, monsters? But we're British. And I'm like, badoom. Yes. So things are looking really bleak. But then, from fucking nowhere, motherfucking Who Loves You Baby, Kojak just comes up in a barn, like literally comes up, looks at the guy, goes, "Who loves you, baby?" And now it's Kojak's film. You may be under the false impression the star of this movie is Christopher Lee, or maybe it's Peter Cushing. I assure you, they are merely borrowing it. Because motherfucking Kojak comes up, and it's for 20 minutes. It is his movie, and everyone else is just acting in it. He steals it, ravishes it behind the barn, and does unspeakable things to it on the couch in front of its husband. Okay, this is Kojak's film.
You had talked about your favorite line in the movie. It's Telly Savalas who delivers my favorite line from the movie. When he first appears and his underlings are with him. The devil fears an honest Cossack. Yes, and no, that's not the line, but I believe it's the Countess who gets annoyed at his approach, and she says, you'll be sent to Siberia. And Savalas turns around and looks at her, I'm in Siberia. I mean, duh. But he just goes over the top of that performance.
I loved it. I looked at his filmography because I was wondering what he was doing at the time. And I actually was not aware of just how late he actually was working.
Yes.
And some of his later films weren't so good, but it's the Sunset Years.
Who are the foreign influences? Who are the troublemakers?
Oh God, yes.
No, he said, "Who are the foreign influences?" And there just happens to be a few Chinamen within reach.
He just wanted them. So now we have motherfucking Kojak and about a dozen Cossacks with rifles on board the train, and they are determined to bring on order. By order, they mean they just want a dozen names or so that they can take off the train, shoot, and call it a day.
And then get back to their regular business.
This is the living embodiment of Captain Asshole from The Cynical Bastard. I loved it. But
so if you were as captain of the cynical bastard, you'd be all the time going around delivering lines, waving phaser, just wildly about.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the point of. That's the whole reason I joined Starfleet. I mean, who loves you, baby? Oh. But anyway, so okay. So now there's this idea that if they can't use a magnifying glass to zero in on the person's eyes in the light, well, what if they do it in the dark? And they turn off the lights, and all of a sudden it's revealed, oh my god, it's the inspector. And a dozen fucking Cossacks are in the goddamn train car with the creature, including motherfucking Kojak, and none of them can actually shoot it. Oh, actually, wait, no. Before that happens, they realize it's the inspector, and they start, blasting at the inspector as he makes a run for it, and Rasputin follows. And as the creature is dying, Rasputin offers himself as a vessel because finally it's Renfield's fucking chance, and he's worshiping the Satan, and he'll worship Satan whether Satan likes it or not. So now we have Rasputin as the creature, and he comes back and basically single-handedly slaughters all Kojak and the Cossacks. Now, Kojak went down like a boss, but none of his men could shoot at all. It's a dark car, and there's a creature with red eyes that can only attack them one at a time, and each time he does attack, he has to hold them in place and give them the evil eye. And none of them could shoot him at all.
Maybe that's why they were patrolling Siberia. If they could have shot better, they would have been moved to a city or something.
Well, I think what were they doing in Siberia if not practicing?
Well, there was apparently some, police work and patrolling to be done in Siberia, keeping out the foreign influences.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where they were, that's why they were out there.
Apparently. So, let's see. The creature's slaughtered all the Cossacks, so now he's chasing down Christopher Lee to get the knowledge, and Christopher Lee actually gets him cornered with a giant ass fuck you elephant gun. And rather than pull the fucking trigger, he decides to talk to the creature, and the creature gives the explanation. I am a being of pure energy, and that's when I was like, no, stop. This could have just been, he could have been bacteria or something. I would have bought that, but they went the whole I am a creature of pure energy route, blah 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 blah. And you can't kill me because I've been around since before life on the planet. Like, all the questions you have, I can answer, and yada yada. And Christopher Lee is tempted rather than just, fuck it, blowing the guy away. And then things go off the rails because now the creature goes, behold the power of me and my raised dead ability, where he sways back and forth and basically summons all the people he's killed on the train to get up and become zombies in his service.
Which is rather a creepy sort of scene. I mean, I was impressed by the sights of all these glowing red-eyed corpses, moving their way through the train.
But why didn't he do this to begin with?
Maybe he didn't feel it was necessary to begin with. He was doing pretty good on his own.
But he could have arranged for zombies at one end of the train while he moved to the front end of the train. Everyone is all panicked and chaotic at the back of the train, and he's doing things, behind the scenes in the front. Like, it was very stupid, and I feel that it brought up tension, but it felt like the writer was just going, and then suddenly zombies.
Well, just because you're an alien intelligence doesn't mean you're a genius.
Hmm. And then, so the movie ends with suddenly Moscow says kill the train. I don't quite understand why.
Yeah, I was wondering they couldn't have had much of a chance of informing the authorities of what was
I
going
don't think
on.
they
So
did. So literally, the scene plays out. It's the switch station, and they're getting a telegram like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo." And the guy in charge looks at it and says, Maso says, stop the train. Well, that'll kill everyone on board. And he proceeds to do it. He doesn't telegram back and ask to confirm or to clarify. He's like, I was told to switch it. So he goes,
you don't go around questioning authority.
no. So he goes out, switches the train, and the train goes off the tracks and off a cliff. Kaboom. And that's the end of the movie.
Da, 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 with the end credits playing over the image of the Earth from space as seen in the creature's blood.
I like the thing better. I like both things better, to be honest.
I was going to say, I wonder what we'd get if we had John Carpenter doing Horror Express.
A better movie, probably. I would. How would I fix it? I would drop the whole blood angle. Like I would keep the revelation for when the creature's actually speaking. Like I have been here since before life on the planet began. I was accidentally left behind. I can answer. I can give you the answers for all these questions that you have. Just let me go. And
build me a spaceship.
I mean, he could have instead of killing people randomly, he could have just played it off as like as soon as he got something that could speak, because I don't know if the fossil had any like vocal cords, or maybe he could have written.
I was going to say, well, after all that time frozen in a Siberian cave, or in a Chinese ice cave, his vocal cords may not have been effective.
No, but he could have written in well, could he write? We'll assume that the first person who may have been able to write was the baggage carrier. And as soon as he got to the baggage carrier, he could go, sincerest apologies. I'm actually alive. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, did his species actually have a written language?
I'm talking about the baggage carrier. The baggage carrier was literate. Because remember, he absorbs all the knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would stop that, and I would drop the raise army ability, or I would use it earlier. And you are looking for something.
No, I've got it. I had something about to fall into my lap, which I didn't want falling into my lap. So, well, your list of things you do differently in the movie is surprisingly small.
I mean, there's good potential there, and I do like the concept. You're trapped on a train in Siberia through an ice storm. You can't get off, and there's something in there trying to kill you. And so, yeah, that's the classic. It's
it's been done many times before in many different fashions.
Right, yeah, but it's always
you're trapped in a location.
Yeah.
Well, not always entertaining, but it helps if you can narrow the danger area to a limited space.
The danger zone? Yeah.
Yeah. Not, it would if the train was going through a sylvan forest setting, then everyone could have jumped off the train and ran off into the hills, and that would have involved a lot more money and stuff and a much more complex plot.
Yeah, fair enough. So did you see this movie in the theaters?
No, it used to run on back when TBS was TNT, and then it would show up on some of the cable movie stations at the time, and I finally broke down and bought a DVD, and that was before it started popping up on YouTube.
Well, yeah. Well, DVDs were around way before YouTube.
Yeah, so that's why I went ahead and bought a DVD because I wanted this film. And as capricious as YouTube is, I can't depend on the film being available there for any severe length of time.
Oh, what I do love is when I googled the film, the top googled question is Horror Express a real film? Which amused me.
I first saw the title Horror Express, and I didn't see it the first few opportunities I had because I thought, with a title like Horror Express, it was one of those Halloween or Jason, type knockoffs where some guy in a hockey mask with an axe is going around killing a lot of stupid teenagers. But then I read an account of the film in a book on science fiction films, and that made me curious to finally see it the next time I got a chance. And I was knocked over.
Yeah, well,
Let me provide you
uh-oh.
as a method of stretching this episode out. Let me provide you with some historical context here.
Okay.
Peter Cushing in 1970 or something like that, his wife passed away, and naturally that affected him very severely, and he was off his feed, off his game. And Christopher Lee, who is his very best friend, and here I let you ponder, the idea of Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing hanging out together, hitting the bars and stuff like that. Christopher Lee decides to take matters in hand, and he essentially goes over to Cushing's house, and there's Cushing moping around stuff, and Lee says, "Come on, get up. We're going to get back on the saddle and do a movie. Come on, let's go. There's a movie over in Spain that's being filmed. Let's go. Get up. You'd be perfect for the role." And Cushing says, "Oh, I don't know." And Lee, grabs him and drags him to Spain, and they worked together on this film, and that sort of gave Cushing some of his mojo back.
Well, that was nice. Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah, tough love. Sometimes, you have to take that. But like I said, I always appreciate low-budget films, which, in my opinion, managed to work. And this was definitely an example. Plus, like I said, it had that creepy soundtrack theme, and someone had this bright idea of bringing Telly Savalas in to liven things up.
Which one was Kelly Savalas again?
He was the Cossack leader.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kojak.
Yeah, maybe I should have said Kojak instead of Telly Savalas. The train exteriors
Was a model, yes.
no, well, actually, some of the interiors, there were a lot of the exteriors were remodeled, but some of the interiors, were taken from a model which had been used in the film Pancho Villa.
Wait, was that the badges? We don't need no stinking badges?
No, that's Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Ah, okay, all right.
And it's also a really good line.
Fair enough.
Badges. We don't need no stinking badges. I used to do that at conventions when I'd show up, to pick up my badge, and it said, "Here's your badge, Mr. Wolf," and I'm saying, "Badges? I don't need no stinking badges."
Yes, I'm very certain that was a very original joke. And they all had a very hearty chuckle. Ha ha. Ha ha.
Take your stinking badge and get out of here.
Ha ha. But what is the next assignment you want me to do?
Oh, you're actually letting me do this to you again.
Well, yes, because and also I want to like keep it in this episode. That way, when people listen to this episode, they know what the next movie assignment will be within 30 days, uh, and we
Well,
will. Yeah.
I have. Maybe I can bring up some of my other choices. Once again, I want to emphasize availability so that our listeners wouldn't have no trouble finding a copy to look at.
Well, usually if it's
Also,
before the 1980s, it's no one wants that movie anyway, so I can find it on YouTube. Yeah.
okay, and also this time I want to give you more a film with more of a science fiction feel to it.
Okay.
This was, science fiction slash horror,
Okay.
and so I don't have a title off the top of my head right this instant, but I will find one and pass it on to you, and then we can let the audience quiver in expectation.
Okay. Well, maybe if you let me know ahead of time, I can add an addendum to this episode.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. But overall, I mean, obviously your appreciation of the film of Horror Express is not as great as mine.
Hmm.
But what grade would you give it?
Oh. That's actually a good question. I'll give it a B minus. Actually, B
Okay,
minus.
oh, that's actually, it's better than I thought you'd give it.
Right. If it got rid of the zombies and the visions and the blood, I might have bumped it up a bit more, or dealt with the zombies better.
And maybe had more Telly Savalas.
More Kojak. Give him a lollipop or something. Have him wander around. It was
I mean,
great.
he's talking to the poor little guy who's running the telegraph office in the stable, and he's suddenly delivering some kind of speech. I know that a horse has 4 legs, and a man has 2 legs, and I'm thinking.
And the devil fears an honest Cossack. Yeah.
Yeah, and I swear I could read the station master's or the telegraph man's thoughts at that time, and he's probably going, "Why the hell is he telling me this?"
But okay, so we will leave that there, and the next episode will be Star Trek original series in the blink of an eye.
For better or worse,
For better, for worse. Take care, everybody.
behave.
And I have returned at the turn of the tide to tell you that my next movie assignment is given to me as the 1984 film Threads. It is after I was born. However, it is also English, so I think it counts. All right, and we will catch y'all next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.